There was a representative from RDCs, the elite, businessmen, retired, and you'll see some interesting mix. And all we did was introduce them to what we want to do. I left them here for 5-6 days. They were working day and night. Then we had the PDM leadership, and then we also brought religious leaders. Again, religious leaders, we wanted to segment them, so we brought one arm. We are going to do the rest. But we believe that through this process, we have heard from them. The one group that we have not heard from is leaders of your category. The members of parliament, the NRM leadership for the region and the various district levels, the collection of LC5s, whereas you are represented by a few. We want to hear from you through this process, and the RDCs, again, we have the technical people, the production, and all the leadership, the opinion leaders. And this process is we are not going to tell you what to do, you're going to tell us what we should do, but you're going to tell us in a facilitated manner. You're going to go through a process, and in the end, you will tell us what you have discovered. If what you tell us is in harmony with what everybody else, we're not going to show you what those people told us, because you lead us and you are able to guide your people. So we are going to go through, provide some information, and then you will go, and this is what is going to come after break, I think. So
collecting is on you, but then you beg to implement what you're supposed to do. But that is for another day. But I want to appreciate you for sparing time as busy people for being here. When I got the invitation from the minister to be here, I said I would attend. And as a legislator at the East African community, we have done a lot of things, including common market, opening of the borders, one stop border point, custom union. But we cannot benefit as a nation if we do not produce what we sell to the market into which we legislate for. Now I believe that this region, we are a landlocked region in terms of Bukedi, but we can benefit. We have like 4 borderline points in this region, in Malaba, in Busia, in Wakaka, in Swam. Therefore, if we do the production, because we also benefit from the flatland, we going to benefit. And I want to appreciate the draft. All we need to do is do a bit of improvement, and we don't forget what my Busia brother and my chairman Wanyama said. There is sense to it. There is no nation in the world that overturns overnight and they forget what they have been doing. You only up the game in what you want to do by 70 and continue the other one by 30. Because we need food at the end of the day. See what Busoka has gone through. We cannot forget the traditional that we've been doing. We can reduce it for food, so that people have food. Otherwise, I see an excitement that we want to sweep in the night. We cannot do that. Look at Kenya, what Kericho is going through. They have do tea, but they don't forget the traditional food. Look at Brazil. They don't forget the cassava as well. They don't forget the fufu, and they continue doing the same. So I agree that Honorable Minister, we also need to do land survey. Find out what grows better where, in which district and which area. Land survey is a very important aspect, so that we know how much land we have, what do we have for growing what, how much land do we have for cultivation, what do we have for grazing, and how much land do we have in terms of mining. As the ministry, given us a survey in terms of the mines, what particular minerals do we have, so that when we are engaging the president tomorrow, we also don't forget that God has given us in terms of the minerals that we have. We are lucky that we have the minister. And I think I would agitate that we have a ministry, the ministers outside parliament, so that we can serve effectively the way we are doing, so that we separate the legislature from the executive. Our minister is in position to do a lot of things for a big heart, even when she was not a minister, but also she has no constituency. So her constituency is Uganda, her constituency is Bukedi region. We want to appreciate for a long time, you have been the only minister, cabinet minister we've had. A region that votes NRM 99.9%. But the only person we've had, and I think that was the right choice. We now have Honorable both. We will also demand him to do an accountability in terms of how does he look at this nation. We are called a Bukedi nation. Some people call it Machiga nation, others call it the Uganda nation. It is important that we start addressing ourselves as a Bukedi nation, and in terms of what do we bring on board. So I want to support the strategic plan and propose that we continue having a think tank to think through, so that we sift through for our people, but also having a mixture of a few things that are said in terms of the mines development. There is a whole ministry. We cannot just run away, and our people are using traditional hoes and all that to capture what we sell. I was in Busia 3-4 days ago, and I saw that people are only coming to pick the money from Busia and they run away with it. Why? Because we have not empowered our people. So, honorable chairpersons, let's support this initiative to have money in our pockets, and when a leader walks the way, we will have appointed the way, we will have identified the way. So this is a very important aspect. And when we go to the president, for the first time, we are not going to say, "What were your minister? This is very good." We are not going to only lament and say everything is okay, but we are going to point to the things that we want these initiatives, as also people in this region. For those very few remarks, I want to appreciate you, and let's work together, let's stand together. We want to see the elders forum walk the talk, we want to see the opinion leaders and all of us. This is when.
And daughter, we thank you for giving your time for this region. Dear chairpersons and the entire team that came here today, allow me to salute you. I want to say this. You have given us an encouragement that actually is challenging us. As you all know, this is a new approach. It's the first time we are looking at sorting out the Bukedi problem in this fashion. We didn't know what your feelings would be like. We didn't know that it would even be an acceptable approach to the way we should look at the Bukedi issue. We are therefore humbled by your response. And it assures us that this document we may come out with is going to be and is our basis. Would like to assure you that, like any other strategic plan, new things, new ideas keep coming, depending on what operationalization reveals. We shall keep coming to you so that we make a document that will put in place a situation in Bukedi that our children and our grandchildren will remember us for. So when we are approaching the implementation of this, have in mind that you are not doing it for yourself. You are doing it for generation beyond you. Because we have had many generations in the Bukedi whirling through the poverty we are talking about. So we have now opportunity to flip off a new page.
Ladies and gentlemen, is to confirm what you have said, that the time for running our lives based on the natural economy of our phase here in the sub-region are over. You now have to run an economy driven by brains. Let me explain. There was a time when the resources in the Bukedi were enjoyed by a few people. My grandfather was born in 1859, and the land that he occupied was a whole sub-county. He was still a peasant, but a rich peasant. He was a peasant, but a rich peasant. So everything was there. You move around and so. 150 years later, approximately, we are still peasants, but poor peasants. What has changed? A rich peasant enjoys the natural economy, which is what God created and put there everything. But then, if you go back in the scriptures, He instructed humans to work very hard and multiply, not only themselves, but also the things that were given, the resources. So, the peasants who have been multiplying are now caught up. They never spent time multiplying what? The wealth they were given. So we are in a crisis. Honorable Minister, now the brain has to plan the economy. The economy of people who have multiplied and are in a crisis is driven by science. People have to think, they have to plan, they have to organize those resources, and organize them the way they settle. That's what happened to the whites. They were under a crisis. The environment was pressing them. It is very cold. They need to leave the economy. They must meet their needs. So they started to use their brain. Their time of enjoying the natural economy ended much earlier because it was more pressing. So they spent time thinking, and they have been living an organized, well-planned economy. So they say you cannot simply stay wherever you want to go. You must come and stay here because winter is coming. We are going to bring the heat to that area. We shall construct the houses, and they do everything. It's a planned economy. But crisis had to come. For us, we have been living in the natural economy, which is what we call peasantry. That peasantry is a natural economy. In simple words, the way God gave you, you just enjoy. We have descriptions in Lusoga. an economy that you enjoy without any question called what? Damera donka. Thank you. Damera there. So you find people are not planning. A chicken in my village, you just get the head, you put there. It looks what to feed, it's disturbed by a kite. The wild cats come, and people are not buying. They are just waiting. When it comes, a guest has come, and what you just feed. The time for the natural economy is over. It is now a time for planned, well-reasoned, and well-organized, well-coordinated economy, and that means science, its knowledge, the technology from it, its application, and the innovation. Other than that, we are going to be like fish whose water is over. Then those who are from elsewhere, when we are desperate, we have been here in our government. So investors come and help us to create some options. But we can run and organize the economy. My chairs have been here. If it requires to gather people, leave the land, give everybody his share a title, and it requires them to gather to a certain area so that you can do better agriculture. Do so. That's a planned economy.
No. How you went where you went. And this effort, which has been invested here, started when I was presidential advisor. And the president started calling me Kodarakida. One time I met him and he asked me, what's happening in that Kodarakida land? I told him, we are not doing well. He asked me why. I said the functions of leadership on the ground would seem to be connecting in order for us to move the people. He stood up, he was leaving the room because we were already two. He told me, what should we do? I told him, Your Excellency, allow me to develop something and I will come back to you. That was 2020. And so we started some things, went to a number of districts. At that time, I was dealing with just 4 districts as a prototype because I was afraid on the other side because of the many, what seemed like many conflicts between leaders. And I said, let me start with this side. But later, of course, COVID came. And we were so disorganized by COVID, but I never stopped pursuing this. And fast forward, when I became minister, I really I've tried to make sure that the leadership, especially at the national level, the caucus, meet and discuss. I've not been able to successfully attend the caucus, but I successfully brought together most MPs, not all, but quite many of them. I hosted them in Bukedi when we were mobilizing the population for PDM, before PDM implementation plan, brought together all the members of parliament, and we started to think. And I remember at the end of that exercise, we met in Toronto, and we made some pronouncements of what we were supposed to do. Now, between then and now, it has been understood. Because by the time a problem defeats people, they are not dense people, they are not lazy people, but if a problem defeats us for this long, then there must be a problem there must be something that we have not understood. So we've taken a lot of time, analyzed the problems, understood the problems, developed tools, and the strategy is not to develop the strategic plan per se, to sit in my office and look at, no, but to come and work with the people in the various tiers, and we come to a consensus. I have a theory. The reason why I think I understand why Bukedi is disunited. I think I have understood how to it. As somebody told me a story, if you get insanity and you put them in a container, but don't direct them where to go. Even if you don't cover that container, the insanity will die in that container. They will not fly out. They will not, because to fly out, they need to reach the top and get out the questions and fly. But whichever sailing try to climb out of that container, the others pull that one back. And so they end up packed at the bottom of that container. So we have found ourselves in this limited resource ecosystem. And rather than being the result, poverty is the cause of our disunity. Poverty pains us from every angle. In fact, those of us who step out, black tax, black tax. You just go out, you're supposed to sustain the family. So you are so, even those who are bright, even those who have gone out, you're so surrounded and captured. And the challenge we have is that we do not have a defined road out. So since we don't have a defined road out, and we are just here, and we think that the other person is the problem. You think that your neighbor is the problem. Actually, today I had very interesting news that some members, leaders, are demobilizing people from coming to the function on Thursday. Openly, they are moving village to village, telling people, don't go to that meeting because I don't like it. I keep wondering, how can we do that even? This is not for me. It is not for me, it is for us. So because we don't have a defined common enemy, we think that each other is the enemy. And that's why we keep fighting. So instead of trying to climb out to become the enemy. So the others, they bite the feathers, they get onto their legs. In the end, they just stay there and they don't move out. So I believe that when we have a clear path together, there will be less fights in this region.
Come and appear in this picture. You don't need to miss this picture. It's so important. Thank you.